hospital. It's been 3 days since they got the total knee replacement. Apparently you still have swelling in your distal left lower extremity, so your left leg is really swollen right now, and your flexion is really painful, and you can only do about 45 degrees of flexion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm gonna set you up face up, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prep you up. I'm gonna go wash my hands, just rest for a little bit while I do all this, and then we can make sure we start working you before we do any kind of other activities, okay? I prep them up, I go wash my hands, I come back, and I start my procedure. That being said, I'm gonna tell you where I would apply some heat or cold, whatever I would decide. So, this is what I wanna ask you guys. What would you do for this scenario? I wanna see what you guys think what you would do.
Start with some ice.
Okay. But what would you do? What would be the setup?
You would probe the leg.
Okay, so left leg, right? So what we'll do, right? We'll have that particular thing. However, I will make sure that his limb is in a proper position. Obviously, I'll be more considerate of the fact that his knee is hurting. Okay, what would you work on? What would you do?
Proximal to distal.
Proximal to distal what?
The quads.
The quads. And what else?
The adductors.
So what is your goal plan for this person?
Range of motion.
Range of motion and reduce swelling. How do you do that?
A flourish.
Okay, to where?
Towards the heart.
Right, where would you start on his leg?
From the ankle.
From the ankle up.
This is the problem that happens with everybody.
No, you're gonna start on the
That's exactly the problem that happens
Proximal
every
to
time with this scenario.
distal.
Okay? I was hoping you guys picked this one because everybody always does this. They start over here because they think the knee's swollen, we need to get that. They always mess it up.
So it's from the knee up.
So, there's two things. There's surgery, which means there's scar tissue, or there's skin that's starting to heal. It's only happened 3 days ago. And there's lack of range of motion, there's inflammation.
Probably pain too.
Inflammation and pain. So these are all things that are gonna set up my scenario. All right? He obviously can't walk too well because this thing's kind of lagging him down. So what I would do first and foremost, as Jessica said, I'm gonna put a cold pack. As this cold pack is doing now, I'm doing it for the inflammation. That being the case, what's gonna happen is I'm going to put cold pack for the inflammation. Am I working edema here, or what am I working here? Am I working on here right now to begin with?
No.
No. I'm putting in cold pack. Do you not do anything to can I do something?
Oh, you mean like when the cold pack is there? Are
Yeah.
you gonna do like?
So we can work on this, right?
Right.
Am I doing edema, or what am I doing here?
Release. You're releasing the tightness.
So I'm releasing the tightness. So my concern right now, aside from potential edema, is releasing tightness to take pressure to allow for freedom of motion. So it's not lymphedema that I'm doing accent on yet. Okay? As I'm talking about, what do you have thought about this?
No.
Okay, this is exactly why I want you guys to consider what you're really looking at. So let's say I put a cold pack. This is a cold pack. I'm gonna hold it for about 10 to 15 minutes, obviously because it's fresh. I might do 15 minutes. As I'm doing 15 minutes, where's the lotion? I'm going to do some, hey Ellie, how's it been going, man? Yeah, that hurts a lot, right? How long were you in surgery for? Blah, 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 whatever. Obviously, you're not going to talk to them, but I'm just saying in real life. As this is kind of doing its thing, I'm going to put that so that the gravity starts helping with edema before I get to edema.
Mm.
So then I go ahead and start working into this area. Flexion is a problem, so I'm gonna focus on stripping and strumming on quads. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting whatever tightness they have. I might not implement myofascial because there's so much more I can do at this point stage. I might do myofascial later on in the future treatments. So I can actually do some petrissage. I can get, because of the angle that he's at, I might change it. Right? Get in there. If able to, I'm going to get a little aggressive by really trying to get the quad to open up, but you got to be considered that they're not dying.
Are you dying, Lily?
No, he's fine. Once he starts lifting his leg, then he know he's dying. So I'm doing some deep effleurage. I'm doing some strumming. And all with the idea is that I'm loosening up the quads to be able to get more flexion at the end of this whole thing. If you guys want to come on this side so you guys can see this, okay? You guys are okay?
I could see.
So then once I do this, I'm going to start looking for trigger points, do my trigger protocol. Because flexion of the hip is going to give me problems, I'm going to go ahead and do broad compression. Do some trigger point work in the TFL. Some broad kneading. IT band. Some stripping through IT band and vastus lateralis. Get into adductors. Effleurage. Assuming about 10 minutes went by. Then I go ahead, take off the cold pack. Then what's going to happen is once I've loosened all that up, do my lymphedema work. And because of the situation, I'm going to do a lot of effleurage into the above the knee. For this specific modification, I'm going to do effleurage above the knee, just to get everything starting to work up. Then I'm going to go on the knee. I'm going to do some lymphedema here to start getting the process, because the swelling is going to be here and there's going to be some lymphedema here. But most of it is going to be the edema right here from the surgery. As I kind of get the process going in here,
You're going like around the patella?
around the patella for sure. Then do some more effleurage, some more around the patella, effleurage. Because of this predicament, you'll learn that some advanced treatment is to, now you're going to do some compression on the patella to stretch it out. Okay? Then I'm going to petricize the area, being careful with the sensitivity of it. If you're able to, do a little cross fiber friction on the patellar ligament. You might not be because they have a surgery right here, but just whatever you can potentially do. Once I've done that a little bit, I'm going to start working effleurage over the knee, following through. A little further distal every single time. I'm going to be light on the patella, following all the way through, so this doesn't stay here, it bypasses the knee. And I'm always doing distal as I come straight through, and then start again closer to the knee. So it still keeps on moving past it and doesn't accumulate here. One of the things a lot of people don't think about is that they start working all here and push it into the knee. Now it's swollen more. Because it's still a acute situation, after the fact, I can put a cold pack again for another 10 minutes. Okay? And then once that's said and done, I can go ahead and do some flexion with his knee. Okay, to help with knee flexion. To whatever I can potentially do and whatever other exercise I want. Also part of this, I can go ahead and do some range of motion with the ankle because you want his ankle to move so he can get some pumping with the calves. And then go ahead and finish it all up and then close them out. Okay, done. So, does it make more sense? Would you guys have thought of doing all this like this? But does it make sense why I did the way I did?
Yeah.
Okay? That's the important part, guys. I want you guys to understand how you're taking each part. If there's edema, if there's trigger points, is whatever, I want you to get each part. Since we got time, do you mind if I work on you for a bit?
Go for it.
The back, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to